You are the star of that post for sure. So,
Max was also good.
oh, Max,
Right.
Max at that. He was a little Grinch at the tree lighting for those that were there. So, but that's 4 years. Yeah. All right, you're ready. Ready? We're good? Okay. So for those on the live stream, I apologize that we had some technical difficulties, but there is a recording of the first part of the meeting that will be available via our website. So thanks again for joining us and thanks for your patience. So I'll turn it over to Commissioner Makisha for his comments.
Thank you. Thank you to all the county employees who played a role in advising this budget process. It's a collaborative effort driven by folks with real experience in the work that's being done around the county and the needs of our constituents. I just want to highlight a few of the key priorities that are in the proposed budget. The budget outlines some of the steps we're taking on our energy strategy, including investing in pursuing hydroelectric power from the Norristown Dam, adding electric vehicle charging stations in county facilities, which is going to be essential for us to transition to those. We're also looking to build upon the success of the whole home repairs program that launched earlier this year. It gives eligible homeowners grants to address safety concerns, energy efficiency, and make their units more affordable for people with disabilities. We also included an increase in our funding for SEPTA, which the state is appreciating and really stepping up as a result in terms of saving us from drastic cuts, fare increases over the next 6 or so months at SEPTA as the legislature works on a longer term solution. Our budget includes over $42.3 million to fix roads and bridges, which residents use every day of the year. And, you know, I've seen it in my neighborhood where a county-owned bridge was done this year, Bridge 6, and just the difference it makes in people's everyday lives is significant. And I think overall we have 250 million vehicles using 131 county-owned bridges every year. And over 100 million vehicles use the 75 miles of our roadways. So it's a really critical investment. We have 8 bridges slated to begin construction next year as part of the 5-year capital plan in this budget, including the Kind Street Bridge in Pottstown, which has been closed since 2010. The proposed budget also includes $7 million for the cross-county trail connections between Conshohocken and Willow Grove, and $3.5 million for open space and park expansion. So we continue to make investments through our budget, and we also leverage those investments to get federal funds, like from our carbon reduction program and the effort that the Planning Commission did to secure regionally $200 billion in trails and parks that make a big difference in people's lives in the county and what they're able to do with their families. So while we're able to, all this seems like a lot of money, I think it really highlights that we're doing this in a fiscally responsible way, how we're able to achieve so many of our objectives by leveraging local funds to obtain state and federal money as well. We're also simply being smarter in the way that we spend and finance money. So through the refinancing of prior outstanding bond issues, the county has been able to save about $1 million of budgetary debt service in 2024 and 2025. We also identified about $3 million in savings in this budget as a result of operational reductions in areas such as contracted services, materials and supplies, major and minor equipment, utilities, and training and travel expenses. So it's $3 million in savings just there. Another $1 million in savings in the refinancing of bond issues. And I also want to make sure that we let residents know that you may be eligible if you're on a fixed or low income of our real estate tax deferral program. And you can enroll in a tax abatement program to minimize any impact of the change in taxes on your household finances. Also, earlier this year, we passed a tax rebate for all volunteer emergency service personnel and firefighters. They can apply for up to 100% county property tax relief if they're either in active duty volunteer service or injured in the line of duty. So overall, this budget, it takes care of all the key priorities that we care about, does so in a responsible way, and we continue to find means to help those who need it in terms of tax deferral and rebates like the fire and EMS credit. So I think I just want to thank again the staff and Dean for leading this process and really having a thoughtful budget. And one of the final things also that I didn't mention in public safety and emergency services, the capital budget includes funding for upgrades of radios and other equipment, which is important. But with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner DeVell.
Thank you. As one could imagine, the county budget's a very complex budget, very large budget. We are the third largest county in Montgomery County with well over 3,000 employees, as multiple departments. I won't go through the list. But what we've done a lot of really good things this year throughout 2024. There's a lot of amazing things that are planned for 2025. But we also have to be cognizant of the fact that there's a $45 million deficit within this budget that we're offsetting with using internal funds that the county has on reserve, as well as passing on part of a deficit it's carried through this budget into 2025. We've seen a cumulative 34% tax increase over the last 4 years. With this increase, we're looking at a now cumulative of 43% tax increase over the last 5 years. So there's a lot going on in Montgomery County. It costs a lot of money to do business in Montgomery County, but we also have to be cognizant of the fact that our taxpayers are being stretched to the limit with inflation and all of the rising costs throughout the county, throughout the state and country. We see those rising costs currently today in the county. That's why some of our expenses are rising faster than we would like. But we also see school districts that are raising taxes across Montgomery County at probably on average 4 to 5% a year. So our county residents are being hit from every angle. And we have a $36 million of that $45 million or $44 million that I talked about. 36 million plus is related to personnel benefits and retirement funds that I think we need to take a serious look at. I think that there's things that we need to make changes for as we go into 2025. I think that our commissioner meetings in 2025 need to be more business oriented and really start focusing on, because we're only going to grow. The county's growing, expenses are growing, and we have to take and look at every opportunity to figure out how we could minimize the tax impacts on our communities. The good thing, like the Kime Street Bridge, which I've been pushing for to get that underway since I've been elected, 95% of that funding is coming from the state. So it's basically pass-through money. The bridge has been closed for 14 years. It's been way overdue to get this project underway. I have hoped to have a groundbreaking this year, but that's not going to happen. But we are going to hopefully do that soon next year. It's a $25 million project, and that project should be pushed to get started. Everything's been signed, ready to go, and we should be, as a county, pushing to get that project started. But again, we have a lot of hard work ahead of us. I want to thank Dean and the staff and everyone that was involved in this budget. As mentioned, it is very complex. There's a lot of moving parts in the county, but I think we have to take a step back and also reprioritize some things as we go into 2025 and 2026.
All right, who do we have for public comment?
Karen D'Angelo. Good morning. I'm Karen D'Angelo. I live in Royersford, but I work at the Montgomery County Norristown Public Library as your executive director. I want to thank you all, everyone, Dean, and all of you commissioners for the appropriation that helps to support the mission of the library. It supports everyone who works and lives and visits Montgomery County. It's also the district center library. And I'd like to thank you especially for your commitment to the complete renovation of the Norristown location at 1001 Powell Street. As you know, when 1974 to 76, when the building was built, it was before computers, before the internet, before there were accessibility laws. And people came to the library to get away from the world. And it's reflected in the building. Please come down and visit. It's reflected. You don't see, the windows are all closed off. You can't see through. New libraries are now a place for people to connect with the world, with each other, with their communities, and with themselves. The newly renovated library will have small and large meeting rooms, quiet spaces for contemplation and reading, and interactive spaces with natural light. The library will be a vibrant place for every member of our community to learn, explore, to be and become their best possible selves. I would like you all to come down, look at the library, do a tour with me, see what it looks like now, and imagine what it can become in the future because of what you are doing. Thank you.
Thank you. I know what it looks like because it still looks the same way as when I was growing up here in 1983. So thank you for your comments.
Next up, Jen Wendling, I'm sorry.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Wendling. I'm the Client Relationship Manager for Penn State Extension here in Montgomery County. First, I want to thank you, the commissioners and the county, for your support of Penn State Extension and our programs. We have been serving Montgomery County since 1912 with our unbiased, research-based information to people, businesses, and communities. We are funded by federal, state, and county governments. This collaboration has helped to preserve the farmer and educate our youth. I have only 3 minutes today, so I can't touch on all of our programs, but I would like to highlight just a few and as fast as I can go. Our Montgomery County Master Gardeners grow and donate over 2,000 pounds of fresh produce to local food banks every year. This volunteer group also educates the public on how to maintain their own gardens and helps to troubleshoot pests and diseases to ensure success. There are currently 126 active volunteers eager to help for those who ask. You can find them running and maintaining many of the community gardens across the county. Our Master Watershed Steward program is another volunteer-led program. These individuals have volunteered 4,000 hours this year by planting 2,700 trees, installed 54 rain barrels, maintained 27 acres, and restored 1 mile of stream in the county this year alone. This program has won statewide awards for their conservation efforts, and most recently an award by Montgomery County a few weeks ago for their work at the Martha's Community Farm. Last but not least, I want to talk about our 4-H Youth Development Program. This is the nation's largest youth organization. We offer a wide range of projects here in Montgomery County, from animal science, cooking and sewing, to raising seeing eye puppies and more. Our 371 traditional 4-H members live in 37 different towns across the county. I'd like to read part of a letter from a 4-H parent that was passed along to me. As a small business owner, I see so many young people ill-equipped for the demands of being a working adult. Through 4-H, my daughter has been able to develop real-world skills in a way her non-4-H peers have not. Few organizations offer the skill development, leadership opportunities, competitive experience, and social and emotional growth which 4-H provides. I cannot think of any other program which offer these opportunities steeped in community engagement and family involvement, while also providing competitive opportunities at the local, state, and national level the way 4-H does. All of this has produced a confident and polished young woman. It is no overstatement to say 4-H has changed her life. She has applied to a number of our state's finest private schools and received significant academic scholarships to all. In every case, the directors of administration specifically cited the depth and breadth of her 4-H engagement and accomplishments as a key reason in extending a scholarship. Entrance into these schools may have been possible without these scholarships. The 4-H programs gave her the public speaking opportunities, the community service leadership opportunities, STEM and ag education, and innumerable other opportunities, which permitted her to become someone to be noticed. This next phase of her life has been made possible by Montgomery County 4-H. So this year we are seeking funding for a second 4-H educator, if possible, to help run and expand the program. We want more youth ages 5 to 18 to have access to programming, but are limited with just one educator. So thank you so much for your support, and I have additional information I will leave.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for your comments.
Next up, Mike Hayes.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Mike Hayes of Bridgeport and the director of the Monco 30% project. My views do not reflect my employer. I'll just point that out. I wanted to say to the board, I do applaud your budget proposal for both for meeting the pension obligations as well as achieving AAA rating from Moody's for the 7th straight year. That's not easy to do, I know. When it comes to housing and homelessness, I think we can still do more. And I want to highlight a couple areas today. The first is the spending of the ARPA funds from the federal government. So according to your budget, program expenses will nearly triple in 2025 from 19 million to 57 million. Since funding can be expended for pandemic recovery programs meeting federal guidelines through 2026, I will urge you to restart the eviction prevention program that was so effective during 2020 and 2021. Montgomery County was really a leader in how we kept people in their homes, in their apartments during a very, very challenging time. And I know, thankfully, last year, I believe you allocated 3 million to the tri-county wide WCA. That money, of course, went far, but it's been exhausted from what I understand. Second one was shelter support. Commissioner Winder, in your remarks, you did highlight some great things that are going on there. As you know, the Opportunity House and philanthropists in Pottstown have begun paying for hotel rooms for those living in nearby encampments. So I know we cannot have a back and forth this morning, but I was curious what the plan is for next year in terms of Lansdale, Pottstown, Norristown, and how we can help support those programs with meaningful funding. Because yes, while the global COVID crisis is over, we're still faced with a public health crisis when it comes to housing. Just wanted to remind you of that. And finally, the 18.5 million in the opioid recovery fund, that's also an outstanding development for 2025. For those who are on the call and might be on Zoom today, there's a pending RFEP that the county put out. It's due by December 31st. If you are a service provider, you can put in a bid. You can receive grants for up to $20,000 from what I understand. Take a look at Exhibit E, which is the settlement document that outlines acceptable uses for funding. That includes, but it's not limited to, warm handoff programs and recovery services, including comprehensive wraparound services such as housing, as well as the hiring of additional social workers and behavioral health workers. It also includes approved uses such as support for people in treatment and recovery, and again, including affordable housing for those in need. So thank you for what you're doing. But of course, there's always more that can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your comments.
Justin Trezza.
And quick question, Mike, do you mind you have those in writing, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have those comments in writing?
Yes, yes.
Do you mind sharing
Sure
those?
thing, yes.
Thanks.
Good morning, County Commissioners. My name is Justin Trezza. I'm here today as the Senior Director of Healthy Neighborhoods for the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. PHS's mission is to advance the health and well-being of the greater Philadelphia region. PHS uses horticulture to increase 4 building blocks of health and well-being, which includes access to fresh food, healthy living environments, deep social connections, and economic opportunities. We've been fortunate enough to have the support of Montgomery County's commissioners for the last several years to see through many projects, including tree plantings and more. But I'm here today to thank you all for your ongoing support through Montgomery County's Recovery Office and Office of Managed Care Solutions for PHS's community farm at Norristown Farm Park. Launched in 2021, the PHS Community Farm was created with the purpose to help food insecurity in Montgomery County. The 3-acre farm includes greenhouses, high tunnels, diverse crop fields, an orchard, and community garden. The community-oriented programming and engagement with volunteers are vital parts of the farm, which provide opportunities for the public to engage with their local food systems, as well as foster lasting relationships with the community. Thanks to the county's annual investment of approximately $400,000 a year, we have been able to drive an innovative food as medicine program with 2 behavioral health clinics in Montgomery County, Creative Health Services in Pottstown, and Central Health here in Norristown. Approximately 48,000 pounds of produce has been harvested and distributed since its inception, over 23 households served, and 244 unique volunteers participating in work and learn days on a farm, and over 1,650 veggie boxes distributed through our Food as Medicine program. Beyond the food being shared, our Food as Medicine program has increased positive self-perception of participants' nutritional status, increased daily fruit and vegetable consumption, and improved blood pressure, cholesterol, and healthy weight for these individuals. As one participant shared, I've been eating right since I've been coming here. In addition to the Food as Medicine program, we've been working closely with other local community groups and organizations like Zacate, ICNA Relief, and Chop Carabouts here in Norristown. This work cannot be done without the support of the commissioners and the many incredible people working in the county. We are truly grateful and look forward to ongoing collaborations and raising another $250,000 per year to sustain the work at PHS Community Farm at Norristown Farm Park. We look forward to this ongoing collaboration as well as hosting you all, whether getting your hands dirty on the farm or simply visiting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin. I've had a chance to visit the farm, so, thank you for your work and for your leadership. Thanks for being here.
Richard Barton.
Good morning. My name is Richard Barton. I'm a resident of Conshohocken and actually a former employee of the Planning Commission here back in the 80s and 90s. So it's good to be back. I am here with the topic of housing, and I'm going to just briefly echo some of Mike's comments. We do appreciate the support this county gives to emergency shelters in Norristown, Pottstown, Lansdale, and I would encourage you to continue to do that. Being retired, I do have the opportunity to volunteer. And one of the groups I do volunteer with is called TLC, which is managing a blue code shelter or a code blue shelter at Plymouth Meeting Mall. This is a program that began last year and has continued this year. And just to relate a brief story, when I was there 2 weeks ago, the gentleman I was talking with, 57 years old, had been evicted from a small apartment in Pottstown because the ownership changed and he could no longer afford to live there. He had about another month to live in his friend's apartment, and otherwise he'd be living in his truck. And what he said to me was, there's a real need for efficiency apartments in this county. Efficiency apartments are small apartments that have a combined living room and bedroom area, a bathroom, and a kitchenette. And the reason he loves the efficiency when he can find it is that it enables him to buy healthy food and prepare it for himself instead of eating out or spending money on fast food. So to whatever extent the county can encourage our municipalities to provide more efficiency apartments, either through the Planning Commission or other offices of the county, I think would be excellent. And the proportion of our population that are single adults living alone, it's growing. So we're going to need more of these. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and thanks for the work that you do at the church on the mall to volunteer. Thank you. Thank you for your service to the county.
Brian Hanlon.
Morning, and thank you for having us for this public comment. I'm Brian Hanlon. I'm a resident of Plymouth Township. I've been working with Carsey and TLC at the Code Blue Shelter both last year and this year at Church on the Mall. I'm also on the Board of Family Services of Montgomery County. Today, I'm speaking strictly for myself. Having volunteered at the Code Blue Shelter, people come to the shelter for a variety of circumstances. They could be our friends, they could be our family, they could be us. And one example was a 74-year-old couple whose rent was increased $400 a month. 1 month period, and they were just out on their own. 74 years old, fixed income, they were doing fine, and now they can't find housing. And so it's those kinds of things where we're relying on volunteers to try to keep this shelter going each week, each day. Can we get enough people to service this? We really need additional support for this, and there's a great need with lack of affordable housing, the wealth gap. We have so many great challenges. with people coming out of being incarcerated, can't get a job, nor housing. And I would like to see, there may be an overall plan for addressing this myriad of challenges, but if there is, I would love to see one. And I appreciate your guys' work on this and anything you can do to help support our local efforts.
Thank you for being here and thanks for your support of that community.
David Morgan.
Morning, Commissioners. Regarding the budget presentation, I have some comments to make. First of all, we had a slide number 5, which was of interest to Commissioner McGeeka about per capita revenue effect on our residents. And when one looks at that, thinking of the size of our county is on a per capita level. So even though we have a larger county, we have economies of scale we can use to keep taxes low in our purchases. So that should keep taxes down rather than go up. The graph is a little bit misleading because it goes from 250 instead of 0 to 330 for the various county comparisons. And it goes back to 2022, but we're in 2025 in our outlook now. So in 2025, if I were to take the rates of increase of taxes, we come out second in the highest revenue per person because I took 280 for us and added the 8%, the 13%, and the 9% proposed. And so I get 372. The Delaware County had a surprise this week, as you heard, about 23%, which is astronomical. And the people were very, very concerned there. So they would be first place in 393, second, and we are second. And then we have Chester with 0, 0, and 13, raising them from 320 to 361. Bucks would be 330. I'm sorry, 0, 6, and 0. They're about 350. So they're the lowest of my calculations based on these increases that have happened. We have to realize we're talking about now. So I find it concerning that debt service is a part of the reason for the increase. And if we're thinking of a new money bond, that's more debt service. We're thinking of 12.8 million. I think it was the last figure for each year tax. And just what we have now, the last new money bond, that's really concerning. So the idea is called a revenue enhancement, as the gentleman mentioned last meeting. Revenue enhancement is taxing residents. And so we have persons who have homelessness concerns. If they can't combine with all the taxes of school and county, it's harder to rent or buy in our county. So I think that really has to be addressed, as I mentioned from the beginning of the year. And I was disappointed to see the 9% proposed increase in taxes. Housing affordability, as I said, is affected by taxes. And we talk about a diversity initiative in our county. We have the diverse group of people who can barely make ends meet. So we have to really consider that. Special projects, capital projects, we can't stop construction, but we can have change orders. We can have contract amendments to make them more affordable, because we do invest more than people, as many people have mentioned here, we invest a lot in capital projects of building. And so the Planning Commission has even Ridge Pike involved, which I'm not sure why. There should be roads and bridges. There's a concern about debt obligations and these big projects.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. I like your tie. He didn't hear me.
Desiree Whitfield.
Good morning, Commissioners. My face is new, but I came not with the problem. I came with a solution. I am the president CEO of D-Law MC Corporation. I have 5 pillars. Housing. I will house you for 6 months. But you have to work for 20 hours. How do you work for 20 hours? In my job opportunities, which is my pillar 3, I partner with corporations and unions to make sure that you do have a job, so that after those 6 months, it would be no reason for us to put you in an apartment if you cannot afford it. Number 2, education. Most people are not homeless because they don't want to. It's because they are not educated. And it starts from Black and brown generational wealth. We go into the schools in 9th grade to make sure that parents know how to fill out Pell and FIA forms so that the parents will not bundle down and get on financial aid debt that causes them to not be able to buy a home. Now, I come to you with a solution because when I hear about $25 million on a bridge, it bothers me because we have housing. Montgomery County is the third richest county in the state of Pennsylvania. How do you do that? You build tiny homes with a building. If you give me a building, then I can go to Montgomery County Housing Authority, get the people a voucher, and VASH, which are the veterans, because a lot of people that are homeless are veterans. If we get these people temporary vouchers, but hold them accountable, because you cannot continue to give the same people money when it comes to contracts, Salvation Army and all of these other people, and you're not holding these people accountable. What happens is they continue to stay in the same beds, and you are, it's the cycle, and nothing is coming back to the community. If you have something like, okay, if I house you for 6 months, you have to work 20 hours a week. There's no reason why you cannot say that you cannot work, because I'm gonna help you, because I'm partnered with corporations and unions. With a 1 year housing, I will house you for 1 year. After that, you can go into your own home, but we're going to make sure that you have services like budgeting and have, and have saved your money. So I am coming to the county and asking you all to sit down with me. I have the answer. I do not have the problem. I have the answer. If you all would sit down with me to help me to, the two of us together, so that we can partner together to help combat the homeless situation. I promise you, if you give me some time, then we can have this together.
So,
right?
What's the name of your organization again?
The Law MC Corporation.
Okay. Have you sent the commissioners an email about your? Okay, so we'll make sure that you can get in touch with our office and we can sit down
Okay.
and talk to you.
Commissioner, I just literally heard about this meeting in 45 minutes.
That's okay.
That's why I'm not dressed, but I said, you
okay.
know what? Instead of me doing work, I'm coming to your meeting.
We're like church, come as you are, so no judgment there. So we'll get your information so that we can understand more about the work you're doing. So
Thank you.
thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay.
On Zoom, we have Adrian Seltzer.
Adrian, you're up.
Unmute. Good morning, commissioners. I am glad to be here. Adrian Seltzer, Winwood. I am glad to be here. I'm looking over the budget now, and I'm glad you have 2 meetings because I want to do a little more thorough go through. But the one question that I have is what contingencies do you have in place for the possibility of federal assistance not being here later in the year? And that's one of the things that I'm worried about, especially for homelessness, it's federal and state grants make up almost 35% of our budget. If the federal government sees fit to stop funding us, what contingencies do we have? So that's the first thing, and I'll see you tonight with more specific questions. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the work that you guys do, and on the elections, on administration and everything. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.
That's all. That's it. Okay. Any closing commissioner comments?
I want to just make one comment I made a slight error when I was talking earlier, so I want to, it wasn't a 34%, it was 31%. Then this will be 40%. So I just want to clarify those numbers. I apologize for making an error.
I'm gonna hold you to it. So,
I like to be accurate, like.
yeah, no, that's important.
Yeah.
Any comments? Additional comments?
No, we'll see you tonight.
So what I would say is thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. What is really gratifying for me is that there's so many people in this audience that care about our most vulnerable friends and neighbors. And I recognize, as I went through this budget process, that there's not enough money to do the work that we need to do. And so always cognizant of the taxpayer implications of the work that we do. Always cognizant of giving anyone that wants to call Montgomery County home an opportunity to do so. And I'm really confident that this budget and what we've kind of the seeds that we've planted will solve some of the issues that not help with some, because solving some of these issues will take a long time, but will make a dent in some of the issues that many of you have raised here today. So if only there could be more people that care about our vulnerable residents, but I see so many familiar faces and some new faces that are making me confident in the fact that we've invested in some of these priority areas, but that we'll have people in the communities to execute. So I just want to thank you for being here, and yeah, to be continued. So this meeting will recess until 5:30 p.m. today, which is a long recess. So I wonder what I'll do in that time. And then if anyone wants to stick around, we do have our holiday concert across the street at 11:30. So thank you for being here.